Does this film do these characters justice? Let's find out. Hello Fanatics, I'm Dylan Phillips, and this is the Film Fanatic Review bringing you Justice League, starring Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Jason Momoa. First, we'll tell you what the movie is about, and our initial thoughts. Then we'll move on to our spoiler-free likes and dislikes. We'll finish up with some spoiler-heavy thoughts on this film, and our final word. Justice League follows the story of a newly inspired Bruce Wayne, who seeks the help of Diana Prince in enlisting a team to face their greatest foe yet. Overall, I thought this film was entertaining, so much so that I saw it twice. I'm actually amazed at how much I enjoyed this film considering how low its Rotten Tomatoes score is. Fair warning, there are 2 post-credit scenes in this one, so stay to the end. For what I liked about this film, let's start off with the best part, the cast. Newcomers like Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg are introduced enough to make them entertaining and investable characters, but Justice League gives us one of the best Batmans, Bruce Waynes, Supermans, and Flashes that we've seen on screen. Yes, Superman is in this movie, and he is absolutely badass. And Warner Brothers, get Ben Affleck to stay on as Batman. His take on the duality of the character is essential for this universe. In an unpopular opinion, I have to say that the dynamic between the Justice League characters in this film is loads better than the Avengers. The film definitely lightens the tone of the DCEU with some great comedic moments. While the Danny Elfman score didn't have a great Justice League theme, it did have great themes for each of the individual characters. I love the nod to the original Batman theme. And the film has some decent CGI, in particular the Flash's Speed Force, which doesn't look like an exact copy of the CW's version or Quicksilver in the X-Men franchise. However, not all of the CGI works in this film. Cyborg's armor comes across as awkward and clanky, if anything, but that's not even the worst CGI in this film, and I'll explain that more in the spoiler section. You can really tell what was reshot and added later, as the tone between Snyder and Whedon is definitely different. Whedon adds this very unnecessary subplot later on, which takes away from developing very underused characters. Like, Aquaman's primary development happens in a couple of seconds in one scene, and J.K. Simmons decided to go to the gym and get very buff just to be in 3 scenes in a trench coat. But the biggest issue to me is that DC has decided again to focus on CGI-heavy villains. You have the Parademons, which are essentially the Chitauri from the Avengers, and then you have a crappy one-dimensional CGI'd villain in Steppenwolf, who is basically Malekith. So you have the worst villain from the MCU and a bunch of non-human henchmen, because that's so entertaining. And that's where I'll end our spoiler-free thoughts on this film. If you want to hear our final word or rating of this film, pause now and click the link in the description, because now it's time for spoilers. First off, we gotta talk about these post-credit scenes. Now, there were 2 of them, of course, and the first one was the more lighthearted one, where you have the Flash and Superman competing in a Who is Faster challenge. And I thought that was a great addition to this movie, as it helps to build the dynamic between these 2 characters. But the second post-credit scene is the one that's more intriguing. In that second scene, we got our first look at Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. I do love Manu Bennett as Slade, but Joe Manganiello looks badass, and I can't wait to see him in the DCEU. Oh, and Lex Luthor shows up, although he's a little less crazy and a little bit more calculated, and I'm hoping that that's the direction they take him in this DC universe. And now onto what I discussed earlier, and that's the crappy CGI in this film. You know what I'm talking about if you've been reading all the articles, and that's when they decided to do Whedon's reshoots. Henry Cavill couldn't remove his mustache from Mission Impossible, so any reshoots with Superman, they had to CGI out his mustache. And it's very evident in a lot of scenes. The 2 scenes in particular are the bookend scenes. You have the first scene, which is the cell phone scene, and then you have the scene at the end where he's competing with the Flash. Both of these scenes are obviously Whedon in tone, so they are part of the reshoots, but you can visibly tell in the cell phone sequence at the beginning that they had to remove it because it looks like his upper lip is going to attack his nose. I can't believe that that actually made it past post-production. And as I said, there are very clear differences in the scenes from Snyder's original Justice League and the additions Whedon added. While some of them were a bit unnecessary, like the family subplot or Flash falling onto Wonder Woman's chest, others definitely made the film a lot better. The Flash was the perfect comic relief character, as he should be, while the rest of the Justice League was the right amount of funny, with even Batman being a little less doom and gloom. The best part of this film is definitely the character arcs that we get with Bruce Wayne and Superman. Both of them are dealing with the fallout of their fight in Batman v Superman, and it obviously shows in this movie, making very complex characters. By the way, it totally feels like Superman could have absolutely destroyed Steppenwolf on his own, and he didn't really need the Justice League for this, but the Justice League working together so seamlessly was something that was a marvel to watch on screen. Honestly, I can't wait to see the director's cut of this film. Originally, it was supposed to be closer to 3 hours, but Warner Brothers told them that they had to cut it to 2. So that's nearly 1/3 of the film that's been taken out. Give me those Iris West scenes. And the best scenes to me were the Flash's Speed Force scenes, when Clark returns to Lois and his mother, and the final battle where you finally see the Justice League in action. So, with the thoughts heard, here's our final word. Justice League is a choppy yet entertaining superhero film that takes the best aspects of two directors and tries to make it work. While tonally off at times and filled with gaudy CGI, the characters more than make up for it with some equally marvelous performances that do this league justice. This film was not the most put together, but it shows promise for a more lighthearted, character-driven DCEU, so I'm gonna give Justice League a 7.5. Thanks everyone for watching our review. Are you planning on seeing Justice League? Or if you've already seen it, do you have something to add? What did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Dylan Phillips, and this has been the Film Fanatic Review. If you liked this video and you want to see more, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Check out our latest Fanatic 5 video where we discuss the top Kenneth Branagh roles. Don't forget to follow us on our social media, and until next time, Fanatics, keep it real.